Hi guys, my name is Anna, you're watching simcue, and without further ado, let's get into this video. The plan today is that there's barely any plan. We're going to do a third of the town square, building 3 townhouses functioning as apartments and then having small shops at the bottom. And I think that we should just get started. So the first thing that I want to do is that I notice we have this really nice fountain and I want to have a space in between the townhouses where other sims could like pass through. So I feel like this is the middle, but maybe a little bit wider. So just want to keep that there. That means that we can have the first townhouse like somewhere over here, probably. Maybe not too wide, maybe actually quite narrow. I would say let's start with that, and then over here. Oh, do I want them to be small? Maybe small. Okay, so if we turn this into the flower shop, we could have a little bit of garden space here that also has like really nice lighting. And then I feel like, is this maybe a little too narrow? Should they both just be like 5? So like that, probably pretty good. And then we're going to do some upstairs. Right now I'm really just getting like the main shape down and I misclicked, so there you go. And over here as well, because what I kind of want is, I've seen a few reference photos that has like a weird bridge kind of situation in between 2 houses. That's what I'm thinking for this one. And then for them to be different, if we have the bridge there and we're going to have a roof, we probably want these to have upper floors, so maybe like that, and then we keep that one smaller. I kind of like that, but it also seems like a little bit much, so I'm thinking if we instead choose a different kind of roof. So this roof goes like that, and the same actually for this roof here. But if that goes like that, okay, we are going to have like something very similar to what we see in the background, so that's very nice. I do think this overall shape kind of works, and then of course we need to do a lot of adjustments, so let us just get into it, because I want the ground floor to be stone, which maybe should we instead do it like this? So I don't like that the bridge gets so, ooh, we could do a like custom height bridge. So how tall? Taller than that, probably like this, maybe even a little shorter. Wait, how tall is a door? There we go. And then getting back in here, so I think we could go all the way down for this so that we just have like a small bridge, and then I just need to custom place the roof later on. Yeah, I think we want to do that instead, because then we also have more of a distance between these 2 sets of roofs. I will be adding the roof at the end though, but this is a pretty good height, and again I like the overall shape. And then upstairs, I probably actually want the upstairs to maybe exceed by like 1 tile, so maybe something like that. I think I've mentioned it like way back when I did the bakery, that some older buildings, they have these like bump outs, or like the upper floor is larger than the lower floor because you were paying tax for like how much was actually covering the ground and not really how big the build actually was. So I think that definitely makes sense for this build as well. So I just made a few adjustments, and I think next thing we probably want to take a look at the roof, because I definitely like these very tall roofs that we have here in the background. I think that's also going to look so much better for these ones. So raising these up a bit. I don't want to raise this one too much because I want it to be lower than the roof we have up here. And then I also think we want to add some of these, what do they call them? I'm going to make custom ones, but the name is a dormer. Yes, a dormer window. We're probably going to add some because we have really nice lighting on this side, so it makes sense for this build to have some dormers here on this side. So maybe one here like over the roof, and then another one equally 3 in, so like there. Ooh, okay, maybe not symmetrical, maybe like that. Sure, yeah. Okay. And then adding a little roof. There we go. Adding a little roof. But I kind of want them to be lower. It seems like very tall. Am I just going to like custom place a lot of roofs? I mean, I'm kind of used to it by now, but this just feels way too tall. What if it's like 1 in? Ooh, then there's nothing. Don't like that either. Like custom roofs are cool, but they're also just such a drag. So maybe like that height. Do we like that height? And then with a little bit of a roof on top. Then we can also do a much more like much higher roof, right? But we're going to have to place it at the end. Yes, there we go. Delete that. Please just work. I am too tired for this. So maybe like that. Those are our dormers, and we will add the roof later. Do we want any for this one as well? Maybe we can just do like one, like a bigger one. That's still a thing, right? Like that. Because then I don't really mind, I think, the tallness. Let's try it with a roof. So like I hate it, so maybe not. More custom roofs. I want more custom roof. Maybe for this house here, it could be fun to have a little, maybe like that. I mean, does it look kind of dumb? Sure. Could it maybe work? I mean, maybe adding a roof is going to help us. At least the roof actually fits. It's a little bit cute, isn't it? Kind of like it. I don't mind it. So when I have a roof like this where I don't even know, like the overhang just gets way too dramatic, I like to just add a second one, yes, and then lower that and then give that one the overhang. You just sort of play around with it. Yes. That looks much better. For wallpaper, we have some different options, but I think we're going to go with a safe choice, which is just Get Together. We will definitely be using that pack. So I think that could probably look nice on our little flower shop over here. And then depending on what packs we want to use, but Henford and Backley, that's not the name of the pack. Cottage Living is the name of the pack, is another like safe choice because we're definitely going to be using that. I think I've used it for pretty much all of the builds. So maybe something like that. And then for the upper floors, definitely want to go in with the ones from Get Together. The wallpaper always end up looking really cool with this set, I find, but it's honestly a little bit of a bother to do, like having to click each and every single one of them, but it does look kind of nice though. So I finish off the wallpaper and I do quite like how it looks. I want to have some extra support here at the bottom, kind of like we have over here, but I don't want to use the same stone everywhere. So I was looking through the columns and I initially wanted to use this one, and normally this is like one of my favorite columns. It's just the straight column from Get Together. But what really bugged me was the color swatches, which normally isn't really a problem, but none of these gray actually match and the black doesn't really match either. So that just seemed a little bit weird. I was not planning on using the pack, but I found this one from Werewolves and I do actually quite like it. I like the color and I also like that it's not completely straight. It's a little bit bended. Looks like it's been, you know, setting. It looks pretty cool, hopefully all the way around if we do it like this. It does, however, mean that maybe windows and doors won't fit that well. I will have a look at that a little bit later. What if I copy this? Sometimes you can sort of cheat a little bit. Grid, but then it lowers it. Huh? Okay, so is it because of the roof? If we do that, can I do me no understand? Hello. I know why. It's because it has that weird thing where if it's on a straight wall, it's like in one place, but if it's on a corner, it's slightly different place. So it won't allow me to like exert. Is that a word? It won't allow me to go over the corner. That is so annoying. Roofing. We want a different roof. Maybe these. Not the worst. Maybe not the best. I don't really know. Yeah, I do like these. Yeah, so maybe like that. Possible. Yeah, screw it. Let's just go for it. Let's try and see if we can actually make decisions. Just a teeny tiny little bit quicker than usual. We also need a roof trim. Let's go in with make a decision, Anna. Make it quick. This one? No. This one? Better. Sure. Okay. Doors and windows. Ooh, we could, oh my gosh, these buildings. Oh my god. We could have something like this here. Oh yeah, I could definitely exceed a little bit. There we go. And match that. I don't like how the roof is red. That might be a problem. Do we want red roof? I mean, I guess we could have, maybe. Because it is this roof, right? Does it match? It actually does. Back to windows. And then over here, we could have this one, because there's all as well. And then the shorter ones, we have something here. This one. Yeah. Right there. Is that? I have such a difficult time seeing if it's actually the right swatch. And then for this one, there's no stone. So why would you have a stone? Probably these ones. Yes. Very kyoto. Maybe here. Maybe on the... I hate that. So maybe something like these ones. Yeah. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. And then we can have grey ones here. Adorable. We could have a little like that, sure, and perhaps maybe singular and then just making it look like multiple. Kind of works. Like these windows are just gorgeous. It's not the right shade, so this matches this one. Interesting. What will I do with that information? Because if that matches this color, then what if we use these ones here? Very cute. I will custom place right there and right there at the same height. It really bugs me when it's not like exactly the same. There. Very cute. So this one and this one, and the angles in this game sometimes. I need to see that we place it with the bottom. There we go. And there we go. Moving on up here. I mean, you wouldn't really, but if it is a dormer, you would have some kind of window, I suppose. Maybe this one? Yeah, sure. Okay. There we go. And then, oh yeah, over here, I changed these because we do have a swatch that match, and now it's not as much of a problem. I think that's like enough variation here in the front. And then up top, we could have, this one was the one that didn't match, right? That's why we changed things. Why do I feel like that matches? That matches perfectly fine. So what was the issue? Good question. We could do something like this, you know, again, just to change it up, have a little bit of a variation here. Here on the back, we go with this one. Yes. See, I was kind of thinking that this could indicate where windows go, and we can of course just move the wallpaper if needed. There are these that don't match, so instead there are these ones that do match. That could actually be kind of good. I actually thought this was a room, but I guess I just placed walls, so maybe like that. I do think that looks better. So now it's all symmetrical according to actually the bottom. These ones, or maybe we could have a baby. It's a weird tune. What if it's these ones, but we lower them just the slightest bit? We also add them together. Why don't they tile? Oh, I can move them freely. I forgot. I'm an idiot. I mean, I didn't forget that I'm an idiot. I just am an idiot. That's definitely not going to work. What about like that? That's not too bad. And then we can have doors. Yes. Awesome. Definitely this one, because this already have the glass, the stained glass that matches. This one maybe? Awesome. And then maybe just like that, obviously. I like that. I like the variation we created. Just the next day, and if I seemed a little bit tired in those first few clips, that is actually because I was super duper tired. So yeah, but a good night's sleep really does wonders. This is going to be our little flower shop. So I think they're going to have the workshop in here, moving on to a small kitchen dining area. Then upstairs, probably like a living room situation, and then a bedroom over here. Then for the one here in the back, which is going to be our fizzing juice shop, I think you will immediately enter their kitchen, and then they sort of have their workshop in the back. And upstairs they also have a living room right here and a bedroom over here. And then we have the big townhouse here in the middle, which is actually the only one that's probably going to have a bit of an indoor shop, and then also entering into their kitchen. Here in the back is going to be everyone's shared bath and bathrooms, which I just thought was really funny, because for really old, if we're again imagining that it's kind of like medieval fantasy vibe, you wouldn't really have plumbing in your own house, so the plumbing would be somewhere else. There wouldn't even be plumbing, but showers and also the loo would be somewhere else. So that's going to be here, and we're going to access it from the road. And then upstairs, I think we're going to be turning this into the candle making area. They have a little hallway because they need an extra set of stairs. 1 bedroom, 2, 3, 4 bedrooms. So you can really fit a lot of people into this one. What if we do this one? I was kind of hoping it would go in between the columns, but it goes on top of them. That's a little bit annoying. Is this one maybe a little bit smaller? No, I don't know why I would be thinking that. Do we have anything else? Oh, I just basically want something that's really slim that can go right there in between. What do we think? Do you hate it just as much as I do? Probably. I'm thinking that they just don't have any windows. I just realized that the window actually fits in between, so it's only the shutters, and that kind of makes sense. So I don't like that the shutter is so close to the door, but maybe I have to learn to live with it, because I would like just a little bit of light. Then we could have these ones, so you can knock to let people know that you need the toilet. So then we only have the rest. I want to skip ahead and do our garden. So probably this. And I think I want full, like as much garden as possible, really. Maybe that actually would be nicer. What if we did like that? Getting a little gate. Is this bit, why is it not enclosed? Because I kind of need it to be, because I want to add it to this apartment. It should be though. I know it doesn't look good right now. I'm obviously going to fix that eventually. But for now, we want certain outdoor items. We definitely do want them to be able to plant some flowers so that you can actually grow grow your own flowers. But I also want it to be a garden. So I'm thinking garden space over here. If we move this forward, we could have a little area in the back with some flowers. We can also add some singular ones. Probably going to move these around, but what if we just place some for now? Do I want flowers in the front or flowers up against the wall? We will see. Okay, great. Lovely conversation. They could also maybe have these ones because want these create like fertilizer? Maybe. I'll say let's go with it. Then I probably want to get some live edited objects. There we go. Let's go in here. Let's see. What do you have for me today? I love adding plants. Everything is better with plants. Though in real life, I cannot keep them alive. But I wish maybe one day dreams will come true. These are nice. This is adorable. It's a live edited object. So yard. We definitely want this. This is a great item. It's a little bit big, even if we, I guess if we maybe use those as corner pieces, just get everything out of the way. Get me my other plant, please. Thank you. And then if we do something like that, and we can have another one. We also just have some wild flowers, so maybe get some of that. And then let's definitely also get some lower laying flowers. Are they in here? This one. I love this one. Just ties everything together. Real nice, you know? Sure. And then we can have a little pot right there. We have, yeah, we can also have a pot, like, we can actually not really have that many pots. Well, I guess that's fine. We can have a, I don't know. We'll move the pots. Let's get them out of the way. So over here, we want something that's maybe a bit more up against the wall. Oh, cute. That is so nice. I think I just overall want a very overgrown garden that we just also have lander boxes and pots in. I think that's going to look like the cutest, would maybe, for the lack of a better word, be the word that I would use. This can go, we can custom place everything a little bit. We can turn this a little bit. Nothing needs to be perfect right here. Move this up a little bit. And then some more, like, don't we just have like a little bit of flower? Oh, that's the same size. These are pretty. Have some of these. Yes, we should. The answer is always more flowers. Please, give me more. I love them. They are so pretty. Maybe these ones. We have grass. I like grass. I don't really. I don't know. Singular grass. Kind of funny. Get some singular grass. I want more flowers. No. It's a no. Mushrooms. The mushrooms are cute though. They're actually so cute. They're so adorable. Let's get little mushroom. Shroomy. And then maybe we can have these ones like over here. Yes. Hello. Why are you not walling? Please wall. I would like. Excuse me. Is it not completely flat? Like what? I would like to not be able to look into another dimension in this garden. But maybe that's just me. Hello. So there's just a spot here that will not be flattened, or what is going on? Why? Why? What is going on? Why you do this to me? All I want is to build. Oh, it did it. Amazing. So can we now? It hurted my soul. I hate that so much. So what are we gonna do? Cover it up with plants. Yes. Okay. Probably just want a very default bushy looking thing. There we go. Now it is completely gone. Wow. It's a miracle. Why does the terrain paint that comes with the pack not match? Because that would have been really nice, wouldn't it? Is it then maybe the gravel is better then? So I think the last thing we're going to work on today before I need to go and get dinner and close down for the day is going to be these like shop fronts, because we do want to give it more of like a town square feeling. And I was playing around with it a little bit, and I do think we can do something with a roof and make it more so seem like it's, would you say, like made of fabric almost. So I'm thinking if we lower it and then we get out the eaves quite a bit, we also don't want that in the wall. And then pressing Shift C, we get a few more options. So what I'm thinking is if we can do something like that and then have like columns to support it, then the question is, do we have a roof texture that also comes in colors that could look like, I guess this actually. Oh, I do quite like those. And then if we get a nice nice edge, maybe something like that. I'm not mad about that. I don't know the name for these things. I hope you see my vision. And then I did manage to find I actually think in this category, yeah, this one, which I thought for the flower shop would be like so cute, and we're just going to size it down a little bit so that it hopefully matches. That actually seems to be working quite well. That probably looks the best. And because these are going to be apartment, you will not be able to run them as a small business. You can of course change it up and just use it as residential, live in one of them, and then open up a small business. But instead we're going to have these selling tables, these sales tables. Is there only this one? I think it's true that there's not a base scheme one. I mean, it doesn't fit all that well, but it does mean that we don't have to add a separate pack, and I do kind of like that thought as well. I don't really like the look, and maybe it is better to just accept that we need another pack. I mean, I like this. So the flower store can have this one, and then we have the candle store. Probably want some color for that. That also matches that thing. So I guess like that. So what flowers do we have? What can you buy here at the cutesy little flower shop? Maybe you can get yourself one of these. You could also buy, I guess you can buy some of the things we have inside, right? You'll be able to buy like these ones, be able to buy some of these. That's great. And people are just pointing, they're like, I want that flower right there in the back. That one could have like that. I think that's pretty good. I mean, these are cute. If we maybe want to like close this area off a little bit, maybe we could have like 2 of these. Yeah, let's just move these a little bit. Scooch them. I'm tempted to do that. I kind of want to fit them in between. If we just go with 0.9, should be enough, I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, that's cute, right? Oh, the table is in the column. Hadn't really thought about that. Do I maybe not care? I mean, it would be the easiest to just not care and just get rid of this one. I mean, it's clearly someone who's just very passionate about flowers, right? So over here, this is candles and potentially honey. Yeah. So how does a candle / potentially honey shop look like? So if we have a table here so that the table is like what's closing off this shop area, do we just display candles? I mean, I guess so. Just what else would we really be displaying? Let's get some candles, and I think we can start with some of these. These are good to just fill out some space like so. Let's make it kind of as random as possible. Wait, these come in different colors? Oh, that is such a game changer. I don't feel like that has always been an option. Just a little bit of a variety. Let us get debug items and add some of these. Yeah. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's actually a lot easier to just place them and then change the color, but because it's a debug item, you can't do that. So I'm just going to redo it. No problemo. Orange, green, and also maybe blue. Yeah, this is a terrible like storefront. I just honestly cannot be bothered to custom place every single little candle, just for a little bit of variety. I know words. That's a lot of candles. Honey? Do we have anything related to honey? Ooh, fizzy honey. Oh, I love that idea. Oh, maybe something like this. That is cute. And then over here, they are selling the fizzy juices. So what would their little shop look like? Do we not have any kind of just bottle? This seems lame. Like, I don't like this as a decoration. This isn't fun. That definitely looks better. I mean, we could have something like this. Because I mean, it's just so repetitive. But maybe we can break it up just enough for it to be like, all right. Not great, just all right is what I'm thinking. I want something here. But what if they make juice fizzing, but they are also a carpenter? Because that's base games. That would be easy to add. Do you think we can find the like wooden sculptures? Yeah. We can definitely have some of these. That could make sense. And we can add that to the workshop. We'll just add a woodworking bench. That also means that this household has another like activity that they can do. Oh, there are the big ones. There's 2, right? Yeah. There's 2. Okay. This is where you come to buy your wooden sculptures. And then you can also buy your reindeers. Yes. Cool. You can buy a big bear. You can buy your big better right here. And then maybe they also every now and then they do the challenge of like, oh, it's a sundial. I thought it was like the ones where you're fighting. No, you're competing to see like who can get the nail in first. I think we're going to pretend that that's what it is. I don't care that they claim it to be a sundial. Every now and then they're just like, if you can get the nail in quicker than I can, you get a free bottle. I hate it a little less. I think it still needs some work, but I think we'll come back to it. So I think it's about time we finish this build. There are kind of two things left that I feel like could still be interesting to do together. So the first one is doing all of the custom roofs, because I don't think we'll be placing any more walls. So the way to do it is that you just get a one tile little build away from the area you're otherwise building in. And because this is on the second floor, we do also want to apply a second floor. Next, what I like to do is I like to go into the half walls and sort of measure how tall this is. So this is this height. And then I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is only 10 tall. And I'm just realizing that normally that's when I raise it. How would I do it when I lower it? Maybe I would do it like that. So this wall is the same height as this wall. And when I grab this and I start dragging it, you will see a sort of half transparent white line. And by now that has reached our wall. So it should be this height. We will then go in and get a roof, place it here on top at our custom height, and we will then drag it across. We can't move it, we need to drag it, and we need it to be free of the other thing. So we drag it across here and there. I will put in the eaves. So I don't really like how it's up into this roof, so we'll probably want to lower it a little bit, honestly, like there. So what do I feel about that? I'll admit it doesn't look quite as good as I thought it would. Do I maybe also want it to curve a little bit just so that we can see the windows a little bit better? I think I do like that. That's probably the best it's going to be. Drag it over here. Let's go and lower it a little bit. There we go. That does actually look quite nice. So that's that, and this one, and also let's get the roof trim. I think it was this one. So I think we probably want to move those up here instead. I didn't really consider that when I placed them. So let's just get that right. Come on. There. Perfect. That's cute. So let's add another floor to our little tower. Let's get our half wall, perhaps this height, like so. And then let's lower it to that height, get the roof, and let's drag it along. There we go. Drag it in here. There we go. And I think this roof, maybe let's make it a little bit taller. That was kind of what I was hoping for, and that does work kind of nice, except for the fact that the shutters are coming through. Maybe we can angle it. Okay, I think we can. Still very pleased with that. And let's copy this so we get the exact same curve and drag it along. Let's just drag it along. Look at this beautiful roof. There we go. Drag it in here and done. So those are all of our custom roofs, which I absolutely love because it means that we can just place them at a completely different height instead of a full wall, which, if you don't remember, was this tall, and then we would have to have the roof on top. I think this looks so much better. So very happy about that. That was one out of the two things. And now we can delete our little tower. And then next, because I feel like I don't show it that often, or maybe have really shown exactly how I do it. So if you're not into it, you can of course just skip along, but I will go through the debug and the live edit object catalog with you today. So I have the Better BuildBuy mod, which definitely makes things a little bit easier, and most of the items we're going to be looking for will be in our decorations. So another thing I can do with the Better BuildBuy mod is I can also go into content, I can do the live edit, and I can also choose to hide maxes. So there are no plans, that is absolutely fine. Let's just look through all of it. So this is just base game. There's a lot of the buildings. Scrolling down, what we're looking for is just things that would look good in the area. So it could be this fountain if we found that that would work. If it was more modern, we could have like a little hydrant. There's also these ones, which I actually think we might use. So what I like to do is I just like to grab the things because it's a lot easier as we're scrolling through. There's this little cute wheelbarrow. We could get that one. We could get a little sign. We can probably find that also in the regular catalog. There's another wheelbarrow. We can get some of these items. Now, I will say if the items exists in the regular catalog, we probably want to go back and use that. This is a way you can cheat so that you're not really spending a lot of money if that's what you want. But sometimes there are just a few issues with the live edit objects, where it's like looking a little bit weird, where the shading is a little bit weird. Just look out for that. So let's change the packs. The next pack we are using is Get Together, which does have some really awesome ones, like all of the ruin pieces that we've already used. It is a bit more modern, I feel like. I don't really think any of this works. Like maybe this one if we want to. So we are moving on to Eco Lifestyle. Could be something cool, but I think also in general just a lot more like modern pieces. So they're like tires, which we don't need, but that's cool. A little cone if you feel like it. The one I'm looking most forward to is definitely Cottage Living. This has some great items usually for these kind of builds. We can't really fit an entire tractor, but it is cool. Could have a wheel, but that doesn't really work for us either. I do like these ones. Just, you know, have something to place around. I absolutely love these. I've definitely used those in multiple builds. I think this is going to make a lot of sense actually. So let's add that. We can also have this cute little sign. A well, I mean, this lot doesn't really have the space, but maybe on one of the other ones we have a little sign. That's definitely very cute. But I think since we are in the city, we did use this for the bakery as well. Let me just place it over here. But we can custom place all of these signs, which is actually super cute. So let's get all of these out. They are a little bit different. There are also these items. I think we have them in the regular catalog as well. These I also really love. I think they are great, and we can just add some plants on top. Then maybe a bit of hay and maybe also a few sacks. It's pretty good. And also have these onions and flowers. Perfect. Oh, a little Vogelhäuser. That's not how you spell that. It's a birdhouse. That's an interesting way of spelling a German word. So they struggle with that one. Alrighty, I definitely think that that is about it, and otherwise I will just go and find the items. So this could be like right here on the edge. So this could be potentially pointing to the bakery actually, and then this points to a street in this direction over here, maybe just at that height. And then we also have something going on over in this direction. If it's just hello, there we go, raise that up right there. Nice. I think I want to try with this one. It looks pretty nice. Maybe we actually want it on the other side so that if people are passing through here, it's like, hey, we got this awesome town square that you for sure want to join. It needs to be how much smaller? Let's scale it. Let's try and just do 0.8. That's actually the height we want, or the size we want. So where do we want to place it? Right here on the edge maybe? I think that looks all right. Then we have the Vogelhäuser. Actually might not be the best pronunciation either, but hey, I gave it my best try. Could be right there. Though I am thinking, don't we actually have like a birdhouse? Because I kind of want to use this, since I will probably not be using Eco Lifestyle for any of the other builds. Let's just try and place that here. I will have to figure out if that's like a playable item, like if your sim can interact with it, or it's just a little cute item. What about this one? Surely there must be something cute. Ooh, flowers. We can use that for sure. Yes, I like these flowers. So they have a little sign, probably just right around there. Well, the others technically have their beer, which we could use the one for the barrel. This is their fizzing juice beer sign, and they have their sign right in between. This word here, I'm sure it says candle. Pretty sure at least. Moving it maybe here. These ones could potentially be interesting to have along our road down here. Like we could have some planters right there. Get another one right there. I guess we could have this maybe just outside this person's home. Like they just, I don't know, received some items and they've just left it out here for no particular reason. Well, I guess they weren't home to pick it up. So like that. We could have that probably somewhere else as well. I will look into that. For now, let's place an item right there. I do like this, and I think that can just go along here as well, because we do have a bit of vase up here. To come in another swat. I actually like the green quite a bit. Let's go with that one. It's very nice. Like so. And let's also get a little bit of a plant in here. A little bit of a shrub shrub. Get a shrub. Maybe just these. Maybe just something simple. Raise them up. There we go. I do like how we have these people that just are clearly leaving things outside of their home. But that's pretty much it. See, that is a cute bench. I think we can fit it. It is under the window, but I actually don't mind that. I think that looks kind of nice. A little bench right there. Do we need a bench anywhere else to sell this as a city area? But why would you sit here in the shade underneath a tower? Yeah, you probably wouldn't do that. Maybe just one bench. Maybe one bench is fine. So I'll finish the build. It is now evening. I will try my best to adjust the lighting in the video that you are watching. Hopefully somewhat successfully, but don't get your hopes up. So you've seen most of the outside, so I think we should just start with the inside the flower shop house. So here is their little flower shop with all of the shelves, with all of the flowers. We've got fertilizer, got the actual table, workstation. And then to the other side, we just have, these are just decorative pieces, but still adding to the charm. Through here, they enter their kitchen and their little townhouse. They have a very simple kitchen, very cutesy little dining area, and then just some nice decorations over here and a bonsai tree. Going upstairs, they have a nice little living room. I did actually give them a TV, even though it's not really fitting. It's sometimes nice to have for actual gameplay. And then over here, they have a little chessboard. Going through this door, we have the one and only bedroom, and I decided to add another bed because I feel like it kind of makes sense that more people would be sleeping in the same room. Also, these bedrooms did turn out quite big. So the idea for this one is that you can have a set of parents and then a child staying here. Then through this door is our little bridge, which doesn't really make that much sense because I will be turning them into apartments. So technically it won't really be accessible, but I think it's a nice little detail. So the other house over here, this one's the one for the candle shop that also sells some honey, probably. So in the beginning, this was going to be the workspace, and then I actually just ended up with another room. There's so many rooms in this townhouse. It's actually quite big. So eventually I did turn it into a living room because I realized that they had no living room whatsoever. So luckily that worked out, and they just have a little like cross-stitch basket right here. Then they also have a very simple cottage living kitchen, and then I probably need to like play test it, but I placed the dining table over here, and I really hope that works because I found that it kind of looked like this would be a supporting wall. So that's why I decided that instead of removing it, I would just sort of open it up with an archway. And then here at the end of this townhouse with access from the road, we have the two baths, and there are only baths in here. So if you need the toilet, you have to use this one here or this one over here. And this is also the little like B area for this townhouse here. I did eventually figure out how to enclose it, so I will be adding it to this apartment. Then up the stairs, they have a little hallway, and then in here is the actual like candle making station and a few items here. And then one of my favorite things, all of the candles. I absolutely love the look of this. Maybe we should change some of these colors. I realized that later, so we could have some various different colors right here. And then I did give these people a computer, even though again doesn't really fit, but it is nice to have. On the other side of the hallway is a little bedroom, nothing special. It does have the very nice window, but otherwise there's not really much to say about this space. Very simple bedroom. Then up the stairs again, we have all of the children's rooms. So we have a room for a toddler and also an infant. And I didn't add too much, mainly because I found that there wasn't actually that many things to add. And then in here, we have a small like children's room. And it kind of sucks to be them because the teenager does need to enter through their room to get to their room. But when I realized that, I just could not be bothered because I'd spent so much time just getting the whole staircase situation to work. So I was like, that's fine. It's an old house. It's whatever. So I designed this as a teenage room, and I did give them the easel from our latest event because it actually is really nice. So for the last house, for the carpenter and the one selling fizzing juice, they actually have quite a big kitchen, so they enter through here. And then I do like this, even though it's also a little bit dumb. Basically, this isn't functional. They can only sit at like these 3 chairs, but I thought it was kind of fun, even though it doesn't really make sense. So they just have this like bench of hay. Then they have some storage over here, and then in here is their fizzing station and also their carpentry. And you probably wouldn't have these two things in the same room, but it's The Sims, so that doesn't really matter. I added some wooden figures over here, and then out here next to the loo, they can also get some more wood. Up the stairs, they have a little like living room, study room, but also children's bedroom. want everything just to fit into one space. Do kind of like tucking it all in. I feel like that just makes sense. And right on the other side, we have the bedroom, which also includes a toddler bed. Again, nothing too special. I kind of designed this so that these people were probably the ones with the least amount of money. And I do also think that this would be the cheapest apartment. I'm not entirely sure, but I imagine so. And that's actually all of it. Now, even though you've already seen the outside as we've been building it, I will just give you a short little look around. So here we have the planters. I also added in an observatory. We have the little sign that we put up. We have all of the small cute shops right here. I really do like this storefront, the little bridge and the little flower shop. Over here we have the beautiful garden. I think one of the last things I added were the outdoor lights and also the wisteria. If we just take a break and actually turn it to night and see all of the lights turning on down the little street there. Let's get the sun back on so that we can have a proper look at the garden. I am so sorry for the camera jumping. That has been so annoying through all of this, honestly, which also means that I won't really show you all the way down because I have noticed that especially this area, the camera just jumps up and down. But we do have the 2 toilets out here, but that is everything. So with that, I wish you a lovely day. I hope to see you next time and bye!